Is that it? Was that the Nick? Hey, Nicholas, come bring me Nicholas. I'm not ready to go. I'm late.
Hey, Gayle. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, man, start the show, will you? Let me get my gloves off. I just came back from the Ocheltree Gun Club. I've been shooting skeet and trap this morning. I mean to tell you, it was cold. Go ahead, start the show.
I got it. Welcome all veterans and civilians. You're watching Voice of the Veteran show. The vlog, we're live streaming every Sunday at 1300 or 1 p.m. for civilians. The link for the show is going to be on the screen below, so you can share it with your friends. Voice of the Veteran is the #1 show in the entire United States. It features firsthand veteran experience about the VA. This is an information show and not to beat up on executive show. You can save those questions for the town hall. Don't email me asking why VA employees don't have enough PPE. We just address those questions on this show. That's not an issue specific to the VA, that there's just, it's a nationwide issue, American issue that we're facing. And
so let me take over. I'll start in my usual thing. So I'm Gayle Ocheltree, military airborne paratrooper veteran, along with Nicholas Cormier III. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'm Nicholas Cormier III, United States Air Force veteran, air traffic control. Glad to be here. Hi, everybody.
It's raining tinfoil. I understand that's something when all the planes are coming in, or is that after a wreck? It's raining tinfoil. Is that an Air Force thing to say?
If it's raining tinfoil, it's not good. That is.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's one of those things. It's not good if it's raining tinfoil. And then in the back, we've got MC Franklin. I mean, in Franklin, we trust. I mean, to tell you, we're going to put his face on the $100 bill right there. There's the man. There's the man. Okay. So I know that you're both All-Americans. All-American what's? I don't know, but you're All-Americans. You know what I'm saying? So I want to ask you a question right off the bat, Nicholas. You know, I was just up at the gun club and they were saying somebody figured out, or we were talking about the military, and they said, well, thank you for your service. And I, for the life of me, have never known what to say when somebody says, thank you for your service. I never take it personally. I think that they're honoring the entire military, and I'm for that because I want them to do that. And I think that the civilian population should do that. But it's difficult personally to hear that sometimes and wonder, well, how do they mean that? Are they just being casual, like, have a nice day? Thank you for your service, or are they sincere about it? What do you think?
Well, you know what, Gayle, I like to say welcome home. I like to say welcome home. I value you, and I like to welcome you home and every veteran home. And I know that means a lot to me, and I've heard it means a lot to some of our friends in the veteran community too.
That's cool. No, that's actually a good one. I'm kind of a smart ass, and I just, they say, well, thank you for your service. And I simply say, oh, well, thank you for paying your taxes, because I mean, I figure, that's what's going on, and they ought to know that, whatever. But hey, Nicholas, have you ever been to one of them Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity meals? You know what I'm saying? What was that, like International House of Pancakes or something?
Well, Gayle, in my community, we don't do Rudy Tooty.
Well, I was just thinking, we were talking about Crystal in Texas and how she, thought you were the man, and I said, I thought, well, we're always talking about donuts. And she said something about also, I didn't say anything about it last week, but she said something about how she liked donuts too. And I went, oh my gosh. Well, I'm thinking, if you take Crystal out for a Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity, that might be kind of a step up, I mean, you could afford that, I think. The show could maybe front that, since she's a
I would hope so. I was thinking moons over my hammy.
Yes, I know you were. That's so funny. Okay, I've got 2 comments here, good comments about the show, because we wouldn't read the lousy ones, or maybe we should, I mean, we haven't gotten any yet, so that's what that's about. So So one of the comments here was Nicholas has got it going on with all the women. Gayle is so naturally funny. I think she's really crazy. Like a fox. Oh, like a fox. Oh, okay, that works. So I guess it takes one to know one, the person said. So you guys are doing a great job. I like it. Everybody likes it, including me, VA employee, right there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here's one more. Gayle is funny as shit. Well, that's what it says right there. I don't know what that means. Do you think that's a compliment, Nicholas? I love her casual cracks about the Marines. I'm a Marine and I know she loves us. Okay, well, so I said, here's what this is what I wish about the Marines. I said, well, I would just love it if a Marine would learn to duck behind a rock in combat. But no, they just yell and go, Rah! And go running right into the gunfire. I've never quite understood that about the Marines, but that's the way they roll. So,
Marines.
All right. First of all, we want to include a correction, a very important correction. You just helped me with this. I'm just going to go ahead and read a little bit of what. First of all, we have an important correction from last week. I started talking about my VA experience, and it wasn't current, is what happened there. I'm trying to make a good excuse for giving out wrong information. But this is about My Healthy Vet, and we will start right in and fix this right up the top. So, I get emails, after I say stuff on this show from VA employees and veterans and all kinds of people. And one of them said, Gayle, you are a lunatic. And I went, what did I do now? Okay, so the business office does not help veterans with My Healthy Vet accounts. Let me be clear. They have a special office for My Healthy Vet. You don't just go in and go to the business office and go into eligibility like you might for other issues. You can see how, when that first started out, that there were a few other things going on, but they have their very own office. So, Nicholas,
yes,
I called the MHV, My Healthy Vet office, and the following thing happened.
Oh, okay. You gonna talk dirty about the VA?
No. I wouldn't do that. This is comedy and the way of telling information and the facts in just a humorous manner. That's all that this is about. So I know you've been on in a committee room with VA executives and they take themselves way too seriously. I mean, it's painful watching them trying to be politically correct and do the right thing. Oh, yeah, that's right. And so here's the back and forth of that conversation that I experienced regarding My Healthy Vet accounts. And Nicholas, I know I'm kind of throwing this at you last second, but maybe you could read the guy's comments on the email or the phone. Would that be okay?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay, so here we go. So in the greater Los Angeles area, there's a special office that helps veterans with their My Healthy Vet accounts. So it's not the business and eligibility office. No, don't go in there. They'll just pitch your ass right out. And, they'd be putting me in the VA jail for being a mouthy veteran or on medication to just shut me the hell up. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I call the number that I was given, and the person on the phone tries to give me government answers to what I was asking. So here's an example. Where is the actual office, the actual location for a veteran to walk in and see somebody in person to get help with My Healthy Vet account?
Well, ma'am, I thought you told me you already had an account.
Oh, yes, I do. But I was just asking for accurate information for Voice of the Veteran podcast. It's every Sunday at 1300 or 1 p.m.,
Well, Ma'am, people can't come into the hospital. COVID, you know.
Well, yeah, I heard something was going around like that. Some kind of a seasonal thing, is it? Yeah. Well, where exactly is the office at the VA? Now, this guy says,
Oh, it's in building 500 on the first floor.
well, that's a pretty big building. Do you have a room number?
You want me to look it up?
Well, yeah, I think the listeners on the podcast might like that information. Now, what's the name of the office so that I can ask for that at the information booth?
Well, the name is My Healthy Vet Help Desk, but no one is at the info desk in the lobby.
Well, yes, I'm aware of that. We call it the COVID Castle after all. I mean, seriously, do you have a national phone number that I could call for further questions?
Gayle, are you getting angry about this?
Yeah. Don't mess with my veteran anger. I need it for getting around. You know what I'm saying? I need it for getting around. If I didn't have anger, I would just sit down and watch TV or something. Well, anyway, that's what happens with My Healthy Vet. Now, I put this contact information in the little chat box, but it won't be seen until the post show when it gets edited in. But that stuff will all be available in our library. So I spoke with My Healthy Vet, the local coordinator, and he was extremely helpful. Kevin L. was his name, and he gave me information. He told me that My Healthy Vet coordinators are assigned to each and every medical facility. So each and every VISN, you know, we're always talking about VISNs and other things like that. Well, patients are connected to their current VA Medical Center secure messaging groups, snowbirds, you know, that's people that travel around when there's no COVID, travel around between the sites will usually have connection with their most recent appointments and primary care doctors. Any staff can reassign these messages across VISNs and facilities as needed. So again, it's the largest integrated healthcare system in the nation is the VA system, but they can pass things back and forth. They're set up for that. So it's important to be on My Healthy Vet. Now, I've also putting in the chat the national number, and I want to say what that is right now because it's probably the only one you really, really need, and that's 877-327-0022, not the business office. Got it. Done. Let's move on to travel pay. Subject number 1 today is travel pay. One of the important things here is VA Form 10-3542. Now, guess what? I am so relieved because travel pay has been like a whack-a-mole thing. Whack, 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 whack. You know, you can fax it. No, boom. No, you have to bring it in. No, boom. It's past 30 days. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, you can't get your travel pay right, and then you could never figure out what date was payment for what date in your bank account. Now, that wasn't the VA's fault. It turns out it was kind of our bank's fault because they didn't receive the information in properly is finally what I tracked it down to. But that was my personal experience with it. It was a mess. And then if you go, now, this is all covered by the Code of Federal Regulations. Now, I told you about that before, Code of Federal Regulations. You know what I'm going to do? What I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to get this next this travel pay link up because I am determined to talk and do all this contact stuff all at the same time. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in here so it'll be available in the post part of the show. And that is all the travel pay stuff because here's what I'm excited about. I actually did that. I kept talking and cut and pasted. I mean, I'm high tech. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so travel pay, you can now put it in your phone and That's all there is. You just fill out this form on your phone. You don't have to even talk to any of those people at the VA. I love that part. It's between you and your paperwork. This is a direct communication link with veterans to be able to take care of their travel pay business. Now, on this Code of Federal Regulations, Title 38, Part 4, subsection 17 or something like that, I can't even remember for sure. I mean, you got to memorize all this stuff, is all about beneficiary travel pay. And it's called, strangely enough, BTSSS. I just saw the BS at first and I thought, okay, well, that's probably what it is, a bunch of BS. But did you know beneficiary, look at that. Can you see that? Nicholas, it's beneficiary travel self-service system.
Beneficiary travel self-service system.
This is new. This is cutting edge stuff that people aren't even using yet. Now it's been around for a little while. I don't mean a year, but less than that. But it's this is a way for us to actually get paid. And you want to go in absolutely and check out your eligibility and status regarding travel pay, because everybody says, oh, well, it's not very much money. It's just, you drive from Burbank to VA West Los Angeles and it's just like $14.
It adds up.
Yeah, it does. I want to tell you a whole long story about it, about how they didn't pay me for a very long time. For a bunch of technical reasons. And when I got a check, it was $3,400. So don't badmouth travel pay. I'm telling you, that $14 matters to a lot of people. And, it matters. But they want you to pay it within 30 days. I mean, apply for it, not pay it. They pay it, but yeah.
Apply within 30 days.
Yeah, that's important. So we've got all these websites. We've got travel pay sites. We're going to,
Call from Blair Hughes.
Hang on one second. Computer.
It's Blair Hughes.
Computer.
Well, okay. You option 1, you can also file your claim online. And you can follow the steps below to submit a travel reimbursement claim for each appointment through our beneficiary travel self-service system. That's beneficiary travel self-service system, BTSSS. And you can go to the My Healthy Vet website, and that's going to be eauth.va.gov ACCESSVA/ABOUT.
See what I mean? That's a comedy thing right there.
You can also.
That was my daughter calling on Alexa, and there was no way I could stop it. What are you going to do? She didn't know. You'd think she'd be watching my show, but no, she was just calling her mother, and she forgot. So.
Well, I was filling in everybody on the My Healthy Vet website.
That's why you're the co-host, for God's sakes. Thank you very much. You did a great job.
I've got a few more things here just to close it up.
You go for it. I'll put up some more links. Okay,
we've got also there's going to be eauth.va.gov/ACCESSVA/. In step 1, the page is going to ask you to select your category to find the applications you can sign in with. Select I am a veteran. Step 2, you're going to click on the veteran travel claim entry logo. Step 3, you're going to sign into the travel claim entry portal. You can sign in with your DS logon or VA PIV account. Okay, we're going to download our guide for more instructions. You're going to get step-by-step details on how to create an account, add appointments, file and edit claims, and you can even manage your travel reimbursement profile. You're going to download our BTSSS user instruction guide. It's going to be a PDF. Your option 2, you're going to file your claim using VA form 10-3542. You're going to fill out a claim for reimbursement for each appointment. Then you'll need to find out a new veteran beneficiary claim for reimbursement, or you'll need to fill out a new veteran beneficiary claim for reimbursement of travel expenses. Remember, that's VA Form 10-3542, and it's going to be for each appointment. Download your VA Form 10-3542, going to be a PDF. And Gayle, how do we talk about the mileage?
Well, what you want to do is you want to make sure and you keep track of all of your receipts and anything that you want to claim. I mean, like, meals and anything like that, you need to study up on this, because I don't get anything for meals. But, if you're traveling or something, that might be something that you would get to claim. I mean, it's endless.
Meals too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Seriously.
I need to become proficient in the use of this website and figure out my eligibility for travel pay.
It's important. It's important. You need to do that. Absolutely, yes. Hey, I'm thinking I got all those links in there in the chat for the post show, so those will be available. I've got the animal stuff in there. You know that we have animal people here today, right? Service animals. That's right. I can't wait, because we both know these people. They're married, they're husband and wife, and both of them have a service animal.
Absolutely. I have a great admiration for them also.
Okay. They're all right.
Well, good. I'm glad we got that all taken care of.
Oh, thank you for your help with that. I mean, it got me running around today. I was late to start with, and then my daughter calls in the middle. I mean, what are you going to do? They got all this drop-in capability on Alexa, and they just friggin' drop in. That's what they do.
You are high-tech. You told me high tech. Oh, Gayle, next on Voice of the Veteran, we have some very special guests today. Kyle and Jerry Orlemann are experts in the area of service animals. Jerry was an Army Intelligence, ASA, Army Security Agency, and Kyle, you are officially Jerry's caregiver. Is that correct?
That's correct. Officially and unofficially.
Very good. Oh, this is going to be a good interview. All right.
Gayle, you have any questions for Kyle and Jerry?
I do. Let me start off with, I have like 5 questions here. Now, when I ask these questions, it's certainly for both or either one of you to answer, or both of you to answer, or whatever it is, whoever wants to speak, you just jump on in and do it. No problem. But the first thing I want to say is what are the dogs' names?
Well, my dog is named Talon, like an eagle claw, and Kyle's name is, or Kyle's dog's name rather, is.
Excuse me?
And Kyle's name was Kyle.
Did you just call your wife a bitch? Did you do that?
Well, I have a service dog and a service bitch.
Sorry, Kyle. Sorry about that.
You're going to pay for that one, dude.
Well, they look fabulous, but it must be a lot of work taking care of service animals, yeah?
Not for me.
No.
Yeah, that's part of my job assignment. So
That's right. Well, they always look fabulous, that's for sure. Kyle, how long have you owned and cared for service animals, Kyle?
Well, actually, we got Jerry's first service dog back in 2008 or early 2009. Oh. And so we've been dealing with it for quite a while. And I should also say that our service dogs are both rough collies as a breed. And we're very familiar with that breed, which is why we were able to get the dogs that we were able to get. Oh. So we already were very familiar with rough collies because we had pet rough collies for many, many years beforehand. So we came into this in a little bit different way in that we already had familiarity with that particular breed and how to work with them. And when you go back to the question you asked a moment ago, Gayle, about the grooming and everything, yeah, there is a fair amount of work to do with that. And that's one of the things that veterans who have service dogs are going to need, or going to get service dogs, need to take into consideration because, yeah, the dogs need to be walked. They do their thing, shall you say, and they have to be cleaned up after. If you're going to have a service dog that's out in public.
Wait a minute. When they do their thing, you mean when they poop?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going with
They
you.
do. Yeah, they
Look
poop
at
a
them.
lot.
Look at them. Oh, they're so beautiful. I can see them on the screen right now. Look at those two. I mean, is that their room or yours?
Everything is their room.
Yeah, I thought maybe
the whole house is their house.
If we've been really good and well behaved, they let us sleep on their bed once in a while.
Oh, well, that's very good. Now,
Yeah,
I have so many questions to ask you guys. I mean, what happens when like a little kid comes up and wants to pet the dogs? And I mean, should children actually be engaging with a service animal? Tell me about whatever about that in
Well,
general.
when they come up and do that, I smack them in the stick here. Anytime, and this is true for more than service dogs. This is for any dog. A person should not come up and on their own try and interact with the dog. They need to ask first. They have no idea what the dog is going to be like, how it's going to be responding. In our particular case, because of service dogs, when they come up, if they don't ask, we ask them to stop and get away, and that is a service dog. And frequently, it turns into a little bit of a lesson plan about service dogs, what they do, and things like that. So we try and turn it into an educational experience.
I've heard Kyle say many times to children, "Oh, I'm sorry, the dog is working."
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what that means. And she's always very eloquent about allowing the children to understand and admire the animal without saying, "Get your friggin' hands away from the damn dog."
Well, that's what I used to do.
Now, Jerry, tell me something about this. Now, how did you choose that breed of dog? I think Kyle kind of touched on that a moment ago.
Well, Kyle's the one who actually chose the breed, and it's because we've been so familiar with the breed. We interact with a couple of collie groups. We've had collies for a number of years, and Kyle also does a lot of research. And well, she did a whole lot of research about service dogs before we even started in on the training with my first service dog.
Well, and Kyle, how old do they have to be to start training?
Well, that depends, because training is an interesting thing. Most people think of it as a specific period of time where you actually train and then you stop training, and that's not the case. Going back to what Jerry was just saying, before we got his first service dog, I did 2 years of research, finding out what service dogs could and could not do. And again, this was more than 10 years ago, so they weren't as well publicized at that point, and people didn't know what they could do and what they couldn't do then. So did 2 years of research, and then we found a service dog trainer that was within range for us to be able to reach. And because we knew that the dog was going to do mobility work, we needed to find a trainer who could train for that purpose. So
now I want to ask some questions in between, because you're going right through all my questions.
Sorry about that.
No, I just want to break it up so it's a little easier in the post show for people to catch up with the different subjects and stuff. So
Right.
to continue with the training aspect of it. So who actually, what is there like a company that trains these animals that's or are there a whole bunch of companies? And who actually, I mean, it's a job that people have, that they work at a dog facility of some kind and they train service animals. Is that how it works? Or just explain it to me.
There's a number of different pathways, because first of all, not every dog can become a service dog, and not every dog, even within a litter, can become a service dog. So you have to match.
Really?
You have to match the personality of that specific animal. And there are people who do evaluations in terms of the puppies as to which ones might or might not be worthy of going on for formal training. There are also a number of puppy trainers that are actually within prisons that work with the puppies and get them properly socialized in the beginning parts of training. And then later on, there are other organizations that do formal training. And that's a real important thing when you're going to be working with a service dog with the VA. So there's a lot of people who think, okay, well, I can go ahead and train Rover. I know how to train sit and stand and those kinds of things, but there's a lot more involved with it than that.
Oh.
So there's an organization called Assistance Dogs International, and they have certified trainers. It's
And
not
we put that link up for
Right.
the people, and it'll be in the post show for those two links that you're going to be referencing right now. So are these animals allowed to go in any building?
Again, that's not a black and white answer, because under the Americans with Disabilities Act, anywhere that the public can go, the service dog can go, because, and this is going to sound weird, but it's the truth, these service animals are treated like prosthetic devices. So anywhere that you could take your wheelchair, or anywhere that you could take your oxygen tank, or anywhere you could take your prosthetic leg, the dog is allowed to go, with
That's
very,
interesting.
very few exceptions. If you're having surgery, they're not going to be in the surgical suite with you. That doesn't work. So
Yeah, I see. I take your point. Yeah.
yeah. And there's also separate rules for air carriers. And there's been a change to that recently, and you'll have that link as well. So part of the training is done by these organizations. Part of the training is done with the handler, because it's as important to train the handler, if not more important.
I was going to say, who trains the veterans to take care of the dog? I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Well-
and also, I want you to talk about who is the contact at the VA for a service animal. I don't mean the name of a person. I mean the title of a person.
You want to go to the prosthetics department, because oddly enough, the dogs are handled through prosthetics. And when we first learned that, we thought that's totally crazy, but that's actually totally
You mean like where I go to get my socks and arch supports is the
That's
same place.
exactly-
So I could go into prosthetics and say, hey, give me a dog.
Well,
they're not going to issue. They're not going to issue you a dog, but yes, they will put you in touch with the organizations that can.
Well,
help
I
you.
don't know, Jerry. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's you need a referral before you can go down and start requesting.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I would have just gone in there and said, give me a dog. You know, I'm glad you corrected.
Generally, the referral might come from your primary care, but it may come from somebody else that you're seeing from one of the other departments, possibly from physical therapy. But generally, you do need a referral before you can go and ask for any kind of prosthetic device. And the dogs are devices in the eyes of the VA.
Well, yeah, the eyes of the VA, they've always got a certain way of looking at things, and we all know that. So I appreciate that comment. Hey, you know what? I'm going to let, I think I already asked one of Nicholas's questions about who trains the veteran to care for the animal. But I'm gonna just let him continue on, and then we're gonna have a insurance question here at the end. So just I'm gonna go ahead and take a break, and y'all talk among yourselves.
That was really good. Thank you, Gayle. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Kyle.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good to see you all again. Really good to see you.
We've been missing you.
Yes, we've been missing you also. You all are involved in so many extraordinary things for veterans, and I'm inspired by it. It's great to be able to have a conversation with you. Of course, I've seen your service animals, and they're beautiful, beautiful. And I love the way they have you six all the time. I guess my first question is just going to follow up on what you were initially talking about on how a veteran like myself would be trained to care for his animal or her animal.
Well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, well, go through the first sequence that we went through. Like I said, 2 years of research, found a certified trainer, had the dog temperament tested to be sure that he was appropriate to train as a service dog. And then we did 18 months worth of 180-mile round trips to work with that trainer. And everybody who was in our training group were all disabled veterans training their own service dog under the certified trainer's supervision. So it's a long process. And the other part of it is that we still train every day, because a typical service dog can respond to up to, say, 150 different commands, but you're probably going to only use 10 or 20 of them on a regular basis. Well, if this is the day that you need the dog to be able to go and get the emergency phone and activate it to call 911, they don't do that every day. And so if you have to give that command, you need the dog to be up to date on it so they don't go to the refrigerator and get your bag of insulin.
That makes
So training is an ongoing thing every day, and we make it as a fun thing. It's part of play for the dogs, and they get treats when they do it correctly. Sometimes I even give Jerry a treat.
Well, I don't think Jerry's getting a treat today. Jerry, I don't think you're getting a treat today. But I had another question about how much would it cost a veteran like me to train a service animal? Or how much does it cost in general to train a service animal?
Well, that varies from dog to dog and what you want them to be trained for. Just as an example, one of the training sessions very frequently includes scent training, because the dog reacts to scent training. For instance, if you're diabetic and your blood sugar is having a massive change, the dog can pick that up and warn you that something's going on. But the only way they can usually the only way they can do that is if they've been scent trained for it. Well, for one scent, it's going to cost $5,000 and up for the training. So different things become real expensive depending on the difficulty of the training. A lot of training we do on our own because we were trained to do that by the certified trainer that we went through originally. So costs always vary from dog to dog and situation to situation. Some cases, $35,000 for complete training isn't unusual at all.
Wow.
One thing I want to interject here. There are a lot of organizations that are part of Assistance Dogs International, and in many cases they have funding, and so you can get the dogs from them for free under certain circumstances, or they will help you do the fundraising. And again, it depends on the agency that's being used. So there's a very big range available here in terms of what the cost is going to be. It can be a lot or it can be almost nothing, but you also have the expense once you have the dog for food and for grooming, because when the dogs are in public, they have to be clean. So you may or may not be able to do that grooming yourself. You may need to take them to a groomer, which is what we do with ours. You may have insurance expenses. There's, medical things. They're going to need their vaccinations and things like that you're responsible for too. So again, there's a very wide range involved.
Wow, thank you. That's great information. You know what, it hit me personally too. My brother is a veteran, and he also has a service animal named Harvey, and my brother is a diabetic. And I did not know exactly what Harvey was doing for my brother until Jerry told me. Thank you all.
Actually, Nicholas, if I can interject here with that, it's one of the really cool things about service dogs, because their sense of smell is so much better than ours. And a properly trained service dog can alert 20 to 30 minutes before the person can feel that they're having a diabetes problem, or if they have a seizure coming on or whatever. That's why the scent training is so important, because if you're driving or if you're out in public and you're going to have a seizure or you're going to have a blood sugar issue, the dogs can warn you quickly enough that you can pull to the side or take whatever medication is needed or get to a safe place so that you don't get harmed and you don't end up in an embarrassing situation in public, and everybody involved can be safe. So, these dogs are lifesavers, and the training for them is very important. Very
much so. That's amazing information. I've always just been astounded by the sentience of, dogs. It's just incredible what can be done. I had another question about the other kinds of service animals or companion animals. Is there a difference between a service animal and a companion animal, or is it the same thing?
They're very different. Service dogs are trained for specific disabilities. And so it's a unique training. A companion animal or a therapy dog or anything like that is strictly for emotional support. And it's an emotional support animal. They don't have the same requirements. They don't have the same types of access. A service dog can accompany you into, say, a restaurant. An emotional support animal cannot. They don't have access to all public places. And there's a big confusion between emotional support animals and service dogs, because a lot of people think that, okay, my dog is an emotional support dog, so I can bring him with me into the restaurant. And that's not true. They don't have access. And then as far as what can be what can be a service animal, it's really limited to service dogs. A peacock can't be a service animal. There is one exception to that, and believe it or not, it's the miniature horse. Miniature horses can be trained to be service animals, but it's not nearly as common as dogs, and they're more limited to where they can accompany or where they can go in public spaces. For instance, you're not going to get a service miniature horse to accompany you in the coach section of an airplane to go somewhere. Just not going to happen.
I can see that. Well, maybe the last 5 months or 9 months, you might have been able to get a service, on a plane. But I was thinking also, like, how old are your dogs? And I understand you traveled recently to Oregon to a Gayle group. Was that for service animals or for the breed?
But before that, I think something about accompanying on an airplane needs to be said. Kyle had a very interesting experience the last time she flew somewhere.
Oh, really? Go ahead. I'd love to hear it.
Well, there was a couple of things. And one thing that I want to bring up here is that a lot of people think, oh, wow, it'd be really cool to be able to take my dog everywhere I go. And yeah, you can. But the other part is you have to. If you make a decision to get a service dog, you understand that that dog's going to be with you everywhere you go. So that means if you're flying and if you're at 35,000 feet and you need to make a pit stop, that dog's going to have to fit into the airplane restroom with you. And our dogs are 90 pounders. And so being at 35,000 feet and trying to get into an airplane restroom and have the dog between my feet and get the door shut is a challenge. So, but that's part of what they have to be able to do. They need to be trained to be underneath a chair, either in a restaurant or when we're at the VA. We also have a picture of Jerry's service dog underneath his chair in the emergency room at the VA. And they have to be able to be there and stuffed underneath and not make any noise and not interfere with anything. So again, the training is really, really important.
And I've observed it in your service animals. I've seen it. I've watched that behavior and how they sit and how closely aligned they are and in tune with you all. That's amazing to me. I would just say again about how old are they? Your service dogs?
Well, Talon is going to be 5 in a couple of weeks, and he's the blue merle that's
on the right in the picture.
Yeah. And then my dog Remiel will be 5, or excuse me, they'll both be 6. Talon will be 6 in the middle of January, and Remiel will be 6 in March.
Wow.
And Remy is the one with the sable face.
Wow. Is that what you were going to say when you went to Oregon, is when you were dealing that? You all traveled to Oregon to a Gayle group? And was that for the service animals or for the breed specifically?
Well,
go ahead.
That was for the Gayle group for that particular instance in Oregon. However, that was part of a very long trip when we got Talon, because we had to, God, I don't know how many miles it was, hours, a couple nights on the road to make that pickup. Where was he?
We had to pick him up in Spokane, so we drove over 3,000 miles to get him.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's, again, there's a certain amount of work involved in all of that. And so the other thing, that we did some travel recently. That was for the National Convention for Vietnam Veterans of America, and that was also in Spokane. So we had to take both dogs with us, and we traveled by Amtrak. So the dogs got their first long distance train trip.
Hey, I want you guys to talk about insurance real quick, but we do need to wrap it up. But I want to go ahead and make sure that Nicholas talks to you about the insurance, because I think that's a really important thing. But then we're going to have to jump off and say goodbye to you guys. I just wanted to let you know. So go ahead with that last question.
Copy that. I was just going to ask about insurance for the service animals, for your dogs. How does one go about the insurance process with the dog?
Well, there's actually insurance companies that only insure animals, but there's specifics, and sometimes you don't have to pay for the insurance. In our case, right, Kyle, you handle the insurance problem, so.
Okay, here's the deal on the insurance. Yes, there are regular companies where any pet owner can buy pet insurance, which is a totally separate thing. Part of the reason that I wanted to be specific on this issue is that there are specific rules within the VA having to do with service dogs, and they can be found on the Federal Register. And the final rule for service dogs, I believe Gayle will be putting up as part of the information at the end of this. One of the things that the final rule did is that it makes Assistance Dogs International, their trained dogs have the ability to get a policy through VA that is a wall-to-wall total coverage for everything. And that is a free service that comes if your dog is trained by one of the Assistance Dogs International thing. And the reason that that's important is because Jerry's original service dog, the first one, had a major medical problem, and he required over $40,000 in treatment. If we had not had that VA insurance, we wouldn't have been able to treat that dog. And I can't tell you what the psychological impact would have been if we had lost that dog because we couldn't.
Well, what was the co-payment on something like that?
Because he had this card through the VA, we paid nothing.
All right. That's what we need to know. And I need to wrap this up just because we have to be able to say goodbye and stuff. Nicholas, would you please wrap up with our guests and just leave me on here so we can go right into the next thing?
Absolutely, Gayle.
Love you guys. Thank you so much. Great with you.
My pleasure. Our pleasure. Love you guys.
Love you too. Thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you.
Hey, are the dogs right there? Can we see their little faces? Can you stick them up? Is that even possible? Can we take a little risky moment here?
Mine is under the table, and he's
where they're supposed to be.
Where he's supposed to be.
And there's one of them. Wow. There's one of them right there. I think he loves Jerry.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. Would you come back and discuss this again further on another show? Now that we're all
happy to.
I mean, you're going to know exactly what questions and what little nuggets of gold that we can learn about, for VA veterans and VA insurance and care. And this has been great. I really appreciate your being here, and I'm throwing you out. Love you, miss you, mean it.
All right, take care. You all.
Better places than this.
Love what you're doing with this podcast.
Thank you so much. We're just trying to talk about stuff from people's experience rather than what should happen. It's about what actually goes on, and I love doing that. I love doing that as well. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
Take care, you all. Gayle, we're going to start talking about VISNs?
Absolutely not. We're going to save that VISN number 2, which is New York, which is Brooklyn, Manhattan, and some other name that Adola. Hang on. Let me turn my page here.
We got Brooklyn.
Albin.
Ah, okay, Auburn.
Auburn, New York. There's like 3 of them there all together. I mean, there's some interesting people. Do you know that I used to go to Sepulveda VA, and you know who Audie Murphy is. You've heard about him. He's famous. He was like the most decorated soldier or whatever, you know, and all this kind of stuff. Did you know that his wife used to work at Sepulveda VA, and I knew her? Pam Murphy.
Pam Murphy. Oh, wow. I'm not too far from Sepulveda VA. Wow.
Yeah, well, some guy was sitting there talking about her one day, and he's goes, man, he says, VA, do you think they could get some younger people in here or what? She's like 83 years old, you know, and she goes out to help him and do whatever, you know. And I said, you need to shut the hell up, son. Do you have any idea who that is? Well, I don't know, but man, you think they could hire some younger people? I said, that's Audie Murphy's wife, and she can work here as long as you. Audie Murphy's wife. I mean, she walked back out, and that guy stood up. And I said, thank you. That's exactly how she needs to be treated. Now, you and I are just going to chit chat a little bit because we're not going to talk about our regular VISN thing. We'll just save that for next week. I want to show you something here. This right here is a note from another veteran. It's a burger wrapper, for gosh sakes. It's a burger wrapper. And you see right here, it's just opened up. And I was at some comedy place one night on Ventura Boulevard, and I came back out, and here was this burger wrapper on the top of my car under the windshield. And I said, what the heck is that? Give me that. Who put that on my car? And it says on here, it's talking about thank you for your service. That's why I'm bringing it around, you see, to the end. You know, we start with it and we end with it. That's a smart kind of thing to do. So it says, thank you for your service. Greetings from a 3rd Special Forces Group Officer, 2nd Battalions. Rangers lead the way. Right there at the bottom, it says Rangers lead the way. That's right. And so that was my burger wrapper note from a fellow service member. And I love that kind of thing. You know, I thought, what was this airborne person? How did he even know I was airborne? Oh, my license plates, you know, because I got a frame on them that says, you know, 82nd Airborne or whatever.
Well, are you sure you kind of lied with the airborne thing? It's hard.
Hey, the rest of y'all are legs. You know what that means, right?
You're like airborne.
Not airborne, not airborne. I got a story for you. I got a funny, true story for you. Okay, you ready for this shit? It's about Viagra. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
There you go. I knew I'd just let you know what the title was. So this is a true story. Okay, this older veteran was bitching out his VA doctor because he wasn't receiving his Viagra medication. And I heard this guy. This is a true story. That's why it's so damn funny. So the doctor calls the VA pharmacy, and they confirmed that Viagra had been mailed to his home. You know, so the doctor called the veteran's wife, and she said, yes, the Viagra was coming to the house, but that she had been throwing it out. And she says, sir, I'm 83 years old. And she said, after all, enough is enough.
What?
So he heard her on the phone and said, hey, honey, I wasn't interested in having sex. I'm 90 years old, and I just was tired of pissing on my shoes. This is a true story. I don't know what to tell you. So I was gonna, you know, I don't even know. I you know, I was going to talk to you about Naked and Afraid and all kinds of stuff. And, you know, how I was going to do Naked and Afraid, and then the pandemic came along.
I remember that.
Do that in November. Well, see, then I was going to transition into the MOVE program, and the only reason I was going to do Naked and Afraid was because, you know, I lost weight. And why did I lose weight? Because of the MOVE program. And the MOVE program is Weight Watchers for Veterans. But, you know, we'll talk about that, you know. And I told my children, I also want to talk about the difference between an advance directive and a DNR. You know, do you know the difference? It's important.
You know what? I believe the advance directive, from my understanding so far, the advance directive takes place prior to. That's the pre-planning stage of things, as far as I know. And when you get into the DNR, I've had family members, we've had to deal with this, and that usually takes place, unfortunately, near the end. So I don't know. I'd like to know more
here. So an advance directive, of course, the form number is 10-0137. If you want to do an advance directive, there's a form number for it. And the difference here from what I looked up is advance directive is to make decisions when you can't make decisions for yourself, and a DNR is something you might tell somebody in your advance directive that you do not resuscitate. No CPR if you stop breathing or your heart stops. That's a DNR. Do not resuscitate. Now, I told my daughters, I said, now, if I'm, being kept on a ventilator, absolutely do not pull the plug on that sucker until I'm fully down to a size 6. I want to go out looking healthy. I want to look good in that 00 coffin. Just kind of mush me down in there like a meatloaf. You know what I mean?
Make it in a braid. You will be making it in a braid in a coffin.
Make it a braid in a coffin. Oh, I want to be clothed in my coffin. Can you imagine naked in your coffin? Have you ever seen anybody do that?
No, I have not. I have not. I'm not into that.
I wouldn't go back.
My mother is like that. My mother called me up on Christmas Day and said, she didn't even say Merry Christmas. She said, I want to be cremated.
Just out of the blue like that?
I mean, that's just what we deal with in our family, that kind of stuff. Merry Christmas, Mother. I'll make note of that.
Okay, then you want to be cremated.
Yes.
Oh my God. I don't even know what I would say to something like that.
I'm going to need your help with that. Gayle, we're almost at the top of the hour. We're going to have to wrap up.
Okay, let me do that with the 3 powerful words. I got a card. I've got cards. I can talk endlessly on this thing. Here we go. We're going to wrap it up. There's the bird clock going off. I know it's time in my kitchen. You can hear it every time we're ready to wrap. There goes the birds. 3 little words that are powerful. Yes, he did. I love you. This is my favorite. Chili cheese fries. Them some powerful words right there. Okay. Then here's another one. 3 little words. Let's get high. Wow. And my favorite of all right there, yes, we can. Those are 3 powerful little words. Well, that's it for Nicholas Cormier the third and Gayle Ocheltree the first. And, this has been Voice of the Veteran this week. And we're going to wrap it up because it's time. And say goodbye.
Have a great week, everybody.
Hey, next time we'll do Vision 2, and we'll actually do a recap of what we talked about. But with service animals today, look at the post show, and we'll have all those links that we promised you. See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kyle and Jerry.
Yes, and the dogs. Roof.